Atisha'S Sutras of Mind Feeling. Sutra 6. The 6th Sutra says, do not discuss defects. Human mind always tends to discuss the defects of others, the faults of others. It helps the ego to feel good. Everybody is such a sinner. When everybody is such a sinner, comparatively one feels like a saint, that I am better than the other. When everybody is doing wrong, it feels good that at least I am not doing that much wrong. And this that much wrong nourishes human ego. Hence people talk about the faults of the others. They keep on amplifying the faults of others. Husbands go on amplifying the faults of their wives. Wives every moment finds one excuse or the other to amplify the faults of their husbands. Not only do they think about them, they go on magnifying the faults of the others. That is why there is so much joy in gossiping. Remember, when gossip passes from one hand to another, it becomes richer. And when it comes back, something will be added to it. By the evening, if you come to know the gossip that you started in the morning, you will be surprised. In the morning it was just a molehill. Now it is a mountain. People are very creative, really creative and inventive in creating gossips. When I was studying, my sociology teacher used to give an example that is called the public opinion. He said one day, you are riding your bicycle on way to the college. You see a girl also riding the bicycle. She met a small accident and she fell down. You stop by, lend her your hand to get up, and then both of you went their own way. You reached the college. Next day, you hear amongst the college community that you and that girl are friends, not only friends but close friends. They are seen very often together, holding hands. Not only that, they are seen together in many love poses as well. This is how gossip goes. Why are people so much interested in gossiping about others, in finding faults with others, in looking into others' loopholes and defects? Why are people continuously trying to look through the keyholes at others? This helps to give them a better feeling about themselves. They become the peeping toms just to have a good feeling that I am far better than the other. There is a motivation in it. It is not just to help the others. It is not. Whatsoever they say, notwithstanding what they say, it is not to help the others. The basic reason is, if others are very ugly, then comparatively I am beautiful. Indeed, they are following the Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. People are unconsciously doing many things. If they become conscious, these things will drop automatically. Atisha'S says, do not ponder over the defects, the faults, the shortcomings of the others. It is none of your business. There is no need to interfere in the lives of the others. It is none of your business. but there are great moralists whose whole work is to see who is doing wrong. Indeed, the moralists go on looking at the faults of others and who is doing wrong. Their whole life is wasted. They are like police dogs sniffing here and there. Moralists are like police dogs sniffing everywhere, here and there. Their whole life's work is to know who is doing wrong. Atisha says that is an ugly trait and a sheer wastage of time and energy. These sutras of mind training by Atisha are very simple, yet very precise. Atisha says that is an ugly trait and a sheer wastage of time and energy. Not only is it a wastage, instead it strengthens and gratifies the ego. And an ego more gratified becomes more of a barrier. And remember, it is not only a question of not discussing the faults of others. Do not even be too much concerned about your own defects. Take note, be aware, and let the matter be settled then and there. There are a few people who brag about their own faults, their own defects. It is suspected by psychologists that St. Augustine's autobiography and his confessions are not true. He bragged about his defects, about his faults. He was not that bad a person, but man is really unbelievable. If you start bragging about your qualities, then too you go to the extremes. If you start bragging about sins, then too you go to the extreme. But in both ways, you do only one thing. What Saint Augustine is doing is simple. By bragging about his defects and sins and all kind of ugly things, he is preparing a context. Out of such a hell, he rose and became a great saint. Now his saintliness looks far more significant than it would have looked if he had been simply a good person from the very beginning. And the same is the case with Mahatma Gandhi in India. In his autobiography, he simply exaggerates about his faults and goes on talking about them. It helps him in a very vicarious way. He was in such a seventh hell, and from there he started rising and became a great Mahatma, a great saint. The journey was very arduous. This is very ego fulfilling. Do not discuss others' faults, and also do not discuss your own faults. Take note, and that is all. Atisha says awareness is enough, nothing else is needed. If you are fully aware of anything, the fire of awareness burns it. There is no need for any other remedy. Do not think about anything that concerns others, and that is what you go on thinking. 99% of things that you think about concerns the others. Drop them immediately. Your life is short and it is slipping out of your fingers each moment. Each moment you are less, each day you are less, and each day you are less alive and more dead. Every birthday is a death day. One more year is gone from your hand. Be a little more intelligent. There is no need to think about anything that concerns others. Train first against the defilement that is greatest, Gurdjieff used to say to his disciples the first thing. The very first thing, find out what is your greatest characteristic, your greatest undoing, and your central characteristic for unconsciousness. Each one is different. Somebody is sex obsessed. In a country like India, where for centuries sex has been repressed, that has become almost a universal characteristic. Everybody is obsessed with sex. Somebody is obsessed with anger, and somebody else is obsessed with greed. And you have to watch which your basic obsession is. So the first thing that you need to do is find the main characteristic upon which your whole ego edifice rests. And then be constantly aware of it, because it can exist only if you are unaware. It is burned in the fire of awareness automatically. And remember always that you are not to cultivate the opposite of it. Otherwise, what happens is a person becomes aware that my obsession is anger. So what should I do? I should cultivate compassion. My obsession is sex. So what should I do? Should I practice celibacy? Things like these begin to happen. People move from one thing to the opposite. That is not the way of transformation. It is the same pendulum moving from left to right and from right to left. And that is how your life has been moving for centuries. It is the same pendulum. The pendulum has to be stopped in the middle. And that is the miracle of awareness. Just be that this is my chief pitfall. This is the place where I stumble again and again. This is the root of my unconsciousness. Do not try to cultivate the opposite of it. Instead, put your whole awareness into it. And in the fire of awareness, that fault, that shortcoming will vanish. Create a great bonfire of awareness, and it will be burnt. And then the pendulum stops in the middle. And with the stopping of the pendulum, time stops. You suddenly enter into the world of timelessness, deathlessness, and that is eternity. You have tasted the eternal, all that is beyond.